Hey everybody, I wanted to kind of show you what I've been doing. I picked up this Canson mixed media book at Michael's, and I used a 50% off coupon. So I think I got it for $7. It's like $14.99, I think, not bad. It's 140-pound paper. That's important to me. I like heavyweight paper. I don't want my paper curling on me and just, making a big mess. So anyway, what I decided I wanted to do in this journal, this particular art journal, is I'm kind of caught up with Cinnamon's quests. I was showing you the quests that I've been working on, and I caught up with them. So but I didn't want to stop working with her and, exploring what she can teach me. So, I am still questing. There's no question about that. Each week when the quest comes out, I do the quest. And I'm going to do the quest today. But it's more of an information quest where I learned some stuff and I might apply it in something. But all we really had to do was kind of look for something that we didn't know something about and kind of learn about it. So I am working on that. But this is what I am doing also with her materials, and that is to take the paintings that she's done. I've started working on them in this journal and turn them into my paintings. Like I'm taking something from her and turning it into mine. And this is the first one I did of hers that I really just turned it completely into something that was for me, that I like. So she had just done this Bohemian Elephant and I was totally inspired by it. So I did this art journal page, and I started out doing a process video. I am not ready to do process videos for mixed media. Like, for me, it's just this, and it might be that this is just this project, this particular page right here, took about 3 or 4 hours over several days. And once I was done recording videos, I had so much material, and I couldn't even contemplate what it would take for me to turn that into something that I would be willing to put on YouTube yet. So, so at this point, I'll just have to share my work with you and talk about it. And maybe when I get a little more confident in my mixed media, I will maybe share some of my less involved pieces. But the thing is, I'm not here to redo Cinnamon's work. And that's another reason kind of why I decided not to do a process video on this particular journal. Cinnamon Cooney does a magnificent job teaching you how to paint this elephant. In fact, her elephant is cooler by every stretch of the imagination. This is just me taking what she has already shown me and turning it into something that's more for me. Like hers isn't a mixed media journal. It's a painting that goes on your wall. So I will link the paintings that I show you today below, and you can go watch her paint them because she does a better job painting them. And I'm just going to walk you through what I've done here, and that's it. So this one I used the strip technique from Mixed Media Morsels number 11, I think. 10 or 11 in the background, and I used some paper from Hobby Lobby. I used a couple sheets of this safari, so Land of the Sahara. It's sort of a safari paper. Well, you can kind of see the patterns. It's all very safari. I used strips of it in the background. Covered it with matte gel, applied some vintage photo. I used this wooden stamps that you can get from Michael's in the Bohemia section. They had these wooden stamps, which I wish I would have gotten the elephant, but I didn't. And now I regret it because they don't have it anymore. But I love these wooden stamps. And I used that. I used it with the white heavy body paint. You can kind of see it in the, I don't know if you can see it. Right here's one. You can kind of see it as a texture in the background. So we did that. There we go. It helps it focus. And then I sketched in the elephant and I painted it over. And you can even see the tusks go to here, right? And then I found this phrase. I was thinking about elephants and their memories, so always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else, by Margaret Mead. And I initially, that one kind of made me angry, and then I realized, no, that her intent was to say that everybody is precious. And that was important to me. Like, that's profoundly how I feel about the world, that everybody is precious, that everybody is someone really special and unique. And that doesn't denigrate or minimize your own uniqueness and your own preciousness. It simply says that you, like everyone else, are precious to the world and an important part. And so that's what I did there. I added that, and these are stamps, and I used the colors from the flowers. I had leftover paint, and I just smeared it onto cardstock, and then I stamped on that cardstock and cut it out and applied it. And I used a Posca pen or a paint pen, Sharpie paint pen. I need to get a Posca pen. I think they're supposed to be better. And some pit pens to create the leaves and more paint, and it's just really involved. So there it is. This is my elephant, and I truly, this book, I can't tell you, this book is just so exciting for me. Second piece that I did, let me zoom out just a skosh. The opposite was this one, and this is her dandelion painting. And I'm working my way through her one hoot paintings because I'm still a one hoot painter for sure. But this is just one of them. And the background is actually Inktense pencils. And I was playing with them, and let me just get close here so that you can see. I stamped these wonderful air balloons in the background, and I painted the background with the Inktense pencil. And what I want you to notice is so phenomenal about the Inktense pencil is that when it dries, it's permanent. So I put that blue and the purple and the teal, I don't know if you can kind of see the teal in the background, down. And then I dried it completely. And then I put the yellow over the top. And it doesn't make a big muddy green. It really is yellow. I mean, it sort of reads green in certain places, but if you look closely, it's yellow and blue. See? And I'm loving that. I'm loving those Inktense pencils for that because, oh my gosh, how profoundly powerful is that to get those colors and get them to remain true to themselves and not have them bleed out. That's really lovely. So then over the top, I took the heavy body acrylic and I painted the wonderful dandelions. And then I stamped, the little frame and the fly free. Okay, so this is cool. I did the dream catcher, and the dream catcher is very, very, very mixed media. I don't know if you did see. I started with the alcohol technique and cheap acrylic paint. And so you can see the plops. And then see the iridescent? That's my homemade Twinkling H. It's basically Pearl X, and it's basically a Pearl X watercolor. Mix Pearl X and gum arabic, and it makes a beautiful watercolor. I have my most watched video is about how to make those. So you can go back. It's like 4 years ago or something. It's crazy long time ago. But that's how I just sponged that on with a sponge. I did use what kind of paint? The black. I wanted to tell you this because it's so sort of folk art. I used this to make this. Not happy. Not happy. Now, Could this be a good paint for some people? Sure, it sure could. But for me, after I was done and it was all dry and it literally dried overnight, I came back in to cover it with the matte medium because all of my pieces are finished with a coat of matte medium. And then after that, I rub this beeswax, all natural beeswax furniture polish. And that keeps the pages from sticking together and gives them a slight shine. Anyway, when I took my matte medium, my beautiful golden matte medium, which I absolutely adore, and I've actually used half of this jar, which is incredible to me because it's huge. But anyway, the paint lifted and it created, I started over here and it created a hot mess right here. And so I had to add feathers on this corner to rescue this piece because it was to the point where I was going to have to gesso back over it. I couldn't rip the page out because I had painted on the other side already and I didn't want to. But I rescued it by covering it with feathers. These feathers are stamps from Unity Stamp Company. There's 2 sizes of feathers. And I did the roll technique where you stamp in the lighter ink and then you roll it in the darker ink. And these are all my new colors of archival ink pads, which I love. And I mentioned that earlier. And then all the little beads are just made with different colors of embossing powder. I just took the end of a pencil and dipped it in the Versamark and put it on there. And so there is some residual embossing powder and stuff on this. But oh, this is so, look at that thing shine and how vibrant it is. I love this piece. Love it. Next piece is the mimosa painting. Not a super lot of mixed media on this one, actually. What you probably can only sort of see. Can you kind of see that there's a map back there? I took a piece of that Sahara, Land of the Sahara paper that was a map. Let's see if we can get it to focus. The shiny makes it not want to focus. I took a piece of the map and I adhered it face down to this paper. And then I rubbed it off. It's a transfer technique that you can do with pattern papers. And then I covered the whole thing with a very thick layer of clear gesso because I wanted it to have really good tooth for the painting. And it does. I mean, look at the texture that gesso gave it. And on the background, what you're seeing back in the background is mostly the map. I think I might have rubbed vintage photo ink on the background and before I did the clear gesso. It just kind of gave it a little bit of, you know, something. And then everything else is the heavy body acrylic paints. And I didn't want to put a label. I actually have a label that's a stamp, and I thought about stamping it and adding it, but it's done now, and I just like the glass jar without the label. And I stamped Celebrate Every Day. And my most recent piece, before my kids came home and decided to make me crazy on spring break. I have 2 autistic children, and spring break's not a fun time for us. It just is overwhelming, and right now they're in there, they're playing Skylanders. They're going to be great. By the end of the day, they're going to be so bored. They're going to be making everybody crazy. They need structure, and spring break just isn't structured enough. Anyway, this piece, this mushroom guy. Oh my gosh. It just is, I love it. I just love this thing. So anyway, I did the background with, I stamped it in cobalt, and you see those stamps? Those are Alice in Wonderland stamps because I thought about mushrooms in Alice in Wonderland, you know. There we go. So I did that, and then I used the Inktense pencils all over them. And I used this stencil that I cut on my silhouette, which I can't recommend enough, cutting stencils on your silhouette because, you know, they cost pennies and they're phenomenal. makes a great stencil. So there's one of my stencils. I made this mushroom stencil. I never would have bought a stencil like this. Like, I would see this in the store and go, oh, I like that. And then I'd be like, oh, but I don't want to spend the money on it. But because I have a silhouette and I can cut it for, I think my stencils cost me somewhere around 20 cents each. This one might have been 40 cents. At 40 cents, I can totally make this. Anyway, so I just used the stencil as a stamp. Like, see? You see where the mushrooms are? I just inked it up. And it was cheap, and it was this Craft Smart paint. This really cheap paint. I inked it up and I stamped it down. And by the way, it did not move when I put water media on it. So I'm not buying any more of that folk art paint. Not for mixed media, that's for sure. And I stamped it down, and I had to do it twice. But then I went and colored the tops and everything with my Inktense pencils. And then I came over the top of it with the heavy-bodied acrylics, which is one of the strategies that I've been doing a lot, where I do my background in my other mediums, and then I do my foreground or my focal image in the heavy-bodied acrylic. I'm actually thinking of doing a piece next where I do the background, which is really the focal point. The painting that she did of the Aurora Borealis, and I'm going to do all of that in the heavy body acrylic, and then over the top of it I think I'm going to put some paper cuts and stuff like that, but I haven't, it's not completely actualized in my brain, so it's not ready to become a piece yet. Like, I think I want to put fairies in the foreground, and I just haven't decided, you know, I've got some silhouette cuts that I'm thinking about using, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that. Anyway, so those are my my Sherpa paintings. So I hope you like them. And, you know, certainly if you have questions, you can leave them in the box. But like I said, these are very involved, and I don't feel confident enough in my mixed media to really take you step by step. But certainly if we want to talk about, you know, how are we using these Inktense pencils and what are we using them for? Give me a few more times to experiment with them, and then I might be willing to do a smaller, simpler page where I kind of discuss, you know, why do I choose this medium over that medium? And that's really what I try to do here on my YouTube channel. I want not just be an art share, but also to be informative for you. So I have to do a little more practice before I feel like I can be informative. All right, have a good day.